for safety briefing.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Shore Park Complex. Please pay attention now as we share these guidelines for the use of this facility. Absolutely no food, beverage, or gum is allowed in the main auditorium. All eating and drinking must be done in the concession and the designated areas. No flash photography or unauthorized taping is permitted. Please turn down your cell phones. Bathrooms are located on the concession floor and can be identified by the signage. In the event of an emergency, please take a moment now to locate the exit nearest to you. Note the following: remain calm and move to the exits as instructed. All exits are clearly marked with green signs. Emergency exits are located at the extreme left and right in the main auditorium. The regular exits are behind you. The emergency muster point is located in the eastern car park. Thank you for choosing the Shore Park Complex and do enjoy this evening's program.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the playing of the national anthem of the Twin Island Republic, Trinidad and Tobago. Remain standing for the invocation.
Heavenly Father, we invite your presence here with us tonight. We invite your presence to thank you for the gift of life and for bringing us safely here to the end of another night and another day. Lord, we thank you for the gifts and talents and skills that you have blessed each and every one of us with. And we ask that as we go forward as a new division, forging our way forward, that each person, each individual involved in the conservation, the protection of our environment, the decisions and the policies be guided by your hand. Father, we ask your blessing over these proceedings tonight, and we ask that you be in everything that we do. And we give honor and praise to your holy name. In Jesus' name I pray, amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, you may be seated. The Honorable Farley Chavez Augustine, Chief Secretary of the Tobago House of Assembly, Mr. David Thomas, Member of Parliament for Tobago East, Mr. Joel Sampson, Member of Parliament for Tobago West, Assembly Member Dr. Faith Brebner, Deputy Chief Secretary and the Secretary of the Division of Health and Wellness, Assembly Member Darren Henry, Secretary of the Division of Environment, Climate Resilience and Energy, other secretaries and assistant secretaries, Mrs. Denise Toby Kwashi, Chief Administrator, Tobago House of Assembly, and other administrators. Mr. Bimal Ramlogan, Chairman of the Mainridge 250 Committee, or distinguished award recipients or corporate sponsors, specially invited guests, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to the Mainridge 250 Awards Ceremony and Gala hosted by the Division of Environment, Climate Resilience and Energy, Tobago House of Assembly. As we bring the Mainridge 250 Commemorative Week to a close, we gather not just to celebrate history, but to honor those who continue to shape it. Tonight's award ceremony recognizes distinguished Tobagonians whose dedication, leadership, and service have strengthened forestry conservation, advanced environmental stewardship, and safeguarded our natural heritage. They are the quiet custodians, the guardians of our landscape, the champions of sustainability, and the living legacy of a decision made 250 years ago. I am Patricia Nicholson Richards, honored to serve as your Master of Ceremonies this evening. And so, as we honor those who have carried this legacy forward, it is only fitting that we hear from the man entrusted with safeguarding it today, one who has led this commemorative effort with vision, purpose, and a deep commitment to Tobago's environmental future. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in warmly welcoming Assembly Member Darren Henry, Secretary of the Division of Environment, Climate Resilience and Energy, to deliver opening remarks.
Honorable Farley Chavez Augustine, Chief Secretary of the Tobago House of Assembly, and Mrs. Augustine, Mr. David Thomas, Member of Parliament for Tobago East, Mr. Joel Sampson, Member of Parliament for Tobago West, Assembly Member Dr. Faith Brebner, Deputy Chief Secretary, Secretary of the Division of Health and Wellness, other secretaries, Assistant Secretaries, Mrs. Denise Toby Kwashi, Chief Administrator in the Tobago House of Assembly, and other administrators, Clerk of the House, Mr. Lincoln Nelson, Mr. Bimal Ramlogan, Chairman of the Mainridge 250 Committee, other distinguished award recipients, corporate sponsors, special invited guests, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, good night. Please allow me to indulge you in a 1-minute silence in memory of all the past managers of the Forestry Department of the Tobago House of Assembly. Can we all stand in remembrance of Mr. Roland Murray, Vincent Campo, Thomas Gill, and Joseph Wells. You may have your seat. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. As we gather for this Mainridge 250 Awards ceremony and gala, we are not simply marking an anniversary. We are honoring a legacy, one that has endured for 250 years, and one that continues to shape the very identity of Tobago. In 1776, a bold and visionary decision was made to protect the Mainridge Forest Reserve. At a time when much of the world viewed forests as a resource to be exploited, Tobago chose preservation, over profit and sustainability over short-term gain. That decision was not only ahead of its time, but it was also transformative. It placed Tobago firmly on the global map as a pioneer in environmental conservation, long before sustainability became a global imperative. As I note in my remarks on the opening ceremony on Monday, the main ridge is more than just a forest. It is the ecological backbone of our island. It regulates our climate. It protects our watersheds, sustains biodiversity, and supports livelihoods. And we boast that it is home to species found nowhere else on Earth. But a legacy like this does not sustain itself. It requires people. It requires commitment. And most importantly, it requires action. And that is precisely what we celebrate here tonight. This evening, we honor individuals whose lives and work embody the spirit of the main ridge. Individuals who have not only understood its values, but have dedicated themselves to protecting it. Our first category, the White-tailed Saber-winged Hummingbird Awards, stands as one of the highest recognition of environmental excellence, named in the spirit of environmental education and national awareness. This award recognizes individuals whose contributions have had significant national impact through environmental leadership, public service, scientific research, innovation, and the development and implementation of policy. These are the visionaries, the thinkers, the leaders who shape system, influence decision, and ensure that environmental protection is embedded at the highest levels of governance and national consciousness. We salute them tonight. The second category, the Blue Copper Tree Award, speaks directly to the heart of the main ridge. This award recognizes those who have contributed meaningfully to the forestry conservation, restoration, and development right here in Tobago. They are the quiet custodians of the forest, the ones whose footprints are embodied in the soil, the one whose work may not always be seen, but whose impact is deeply felt. They also carry the responsibility of education, ensuring that communities understand, appreciate, and participate in conservation efforts. Tonight, we honor their stewardship, their resilience, and their unwavering dedication. And then we come to the Oscillated Gecko Award. This category celebrates sustained commitment, individuals who have remained steadfast in their efforts to protect the main ridge through community engagement, public education, and direct conservation actions. These are the bridge builders, the advocates, the community champions. They work where policy meets people, ensuring that conservation is not confined to institutions, but lives within the communities. And it is through this collective effort that the main ridge continues to thrive. Ladies and gentlemen, when we look at these award categories together, the White-tailed Saber-winged Hummingbird, the Blue Copper Tree, the Oscillated Gecko, we see a complete picture of conservation in action. We see leadership at a national level. We see stewardship on the ground. And we see engagement within our communities. This is how legacies are preserved. This is how futures are secured. At the Division of Environment, Climate Resilience and Energy, we remain steadfast in our commitment to safeguarding this national treasure. We understand that challenges facing our environment are evolving. Climate change, biodiversity loss, and increasing human pressure demands that we act with urgency, with innovation, and that we do it together. But we are confident because the people we honor tonight, confident because of the foundation laid 250 years ago, and confident because Tobago has already shown the world what is possible when vision meets action. So tonight, we celebrate our awardees. Let us also renew our own commitment to protect, to preserve, to lead, so that 250 years from now, generations yet unborn will stand where we stand and say that we too honor this legacy. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it again for Line Secretary, the Secretary of the Division of Environment, Climate Resilience and Energy, reminding us that the legacy of the Mainridge Forest Reserve is not only historic, but lives on through the people we honor tonight and the collective responsibility we all share to protect it. We now shift to the screen to recap the beautiful week of activities that made our Mainridge 250 week memorable. Please pay attention to your screen.
Welcome to Mainridge 250 week of celebrations. We are acknowledging the foresight of those who saw it fit to declare the Mainridge Forest Reserve in Tobago protected. We begin with the opening ceremony at the Mainridge Orientation Center, where you will hear from leaders on the environmental stewardship and sustainability goals.
Let me welcome you to the Mainridge Forest Reserve. As you may already know, the oldest forest reserve in the Western Hemisphere. As we commemorate this milestone, we are reminded that this legacy is now in all of our hands. The responsibility to preserve, to manage, and to respect this natural heritage does not rest with government only, but with every citizen, every stakeholder, and every generation to come.
Art by the divine hand of the Creator, and art by the hands of our young creatives. These words came to my spirit. May we recommit our hands to protecting their greatness, and may this generation and every generation to come rise as proud guardians of our Tobago's natural legacy.
Take a minute to inhale with me and exhale. In many ways, the ridge does what no hospital or health center can do alone. It prevents illness, it supports wellness, and it sustains life. Now it is our turn to care for it and in turn care for ourselves.
And you've just witnessed the opening ceremony and judging of the mural competition as we celebrate 250 years of the Mainridge Forest Reserve being declared legally protected. And now we go to the Assembly Legislature for the school debate of the 1776 reenactment.
No forest, no rain, no water, no crops, no future. The subject is a forest on a small island called Tobago in the Southern Caribbean, The Great Ridge that runs along the island's spine is being cleared for sugar plantations. And Jennings believes, since the 1760s, that after reading the work of a scientist, Stephen Hales, that when the forest goes, the rain will go with it.
The plantation economy of Tobago depends on water. The cane fields are productive because the island receives reliable rainfall. Remove the forest, lose the rain.
Tobago is one of the few Caribbean islands still producing reliably under British control. This is not the moment to restrict Tobago's productive capacity. This is the moment to increase it.
I have sat in this chamber
34 years of foolishness, I shall say.
Mr. Cedric, please escort yourself out of this house.
You cannot place me nowhere. I earned my seat. This is what you all want? Is this what you all want? This is what you all want? Don't touch me. Don't touch me. Do not touch me. Don't
Order in this house. The house will come to a determination. The motion before the house is for reserving the main ridge forest as Crownland. Those in favor would say yes. Those not in favor say nay. Sir George Jennings? Yes.
What? Are you crazy? Wait, what? So why you don't go back?
I am not as lenient as the speaker. I will shut this whole thing down. The motion carries.
Those students clearly had a fun time doing that reenactment at the Assembly Legislature. So now we move from the Assembly Legislature back to the Main Ridge Forest Reserve for a very special event, the bird banding exhibition and guided tour. Have a look.
So this project here, we would have requested assistance from the BioReach project, which is a project in Trinidad and Tobago by FAO. And we would have requested some assistance in terms of training the forest officers in terms of being able to ban birds, because obviously bird banding is not a popular thing on the island. And in terms of bird management, bird conservation, bird research, in terms of knowing the habitats of your birds and also knowing what things that could impact your birds.
So it's a ecological sampling technique that is used specifically for bird research. It's where we put a unique band number on the leg of the bird and we release, and it allows us to track changes in individuals and population over time. Because we're able to recapture that bird, we'll be able to see what that number was, what the age of that bird was when we initially banned it, and what changes we're seeing as time go by. So it really allows us to understand our population as population grows or decline, and help us to make proper conservation plans and strategies to be able to protect species.
And now we head to the time capsule, which includes a cultural parade and the unveiling of the 1776 ordnance replica.
Tobago is the closest thing to heaven without having to die.
This morning, through the time capsule cultural parade and the unveiling of the 1776 ordnance replica, we honor the commitment we bring history to life. The choice we make today will determine what the future generation will inherit from us.
250 years ago, Tobago looked like a different place. But because this was protected, today's generation and those that went before us for the last 250 years got to enjoy a pristine environment.
And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. 4 days of events commemorating the 250th anniversary of Tobago's Main Ridge Forest Reserve being declared legally protected. And here we are at the awards ceremony, where we will honor stewards of our environment.
Oh, na, na. I'm lost in Trinbago. Oh, na, 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 na. Oh, na, 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 na. Oh, na, na.
And here we are, where we'll honor stewards of our environment. Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for the week of activities by the Mainridge 250 Committee. And now we shift from reflecting a bit to a moment of artistic history, artistic expression, rather. Just as the Mainridge tells its story through nature, this next performance invites us to experience storytelling through sound, refined expression, and deeply felt. We are pleased to present a violin solo by the highly skilled David Frank, whose mastery of this instrument promises a truly captivating performance. Ladies and gentlemen, David Frank on the violin. Let's hear it one more time for Mr. David Frank. Ladies and gentlemen, the passage of the historic ordinance to protect Tobago's Mainridge Forest Reserve is credited to Sir Jennings, a former member of the British Parliament whose portfolio included trade and plantations, an act of foresight that has shaped Tobago's environmental legacy for 250 years. This evening, it is with deep appreciation and a sense of full circle history that we hear from Sir George Jennings, a direct descendant of Sir Jennings, who sent us a video clip congratulating Tobago on this milestone achievement. Please again turn your attention to the screen.
Good evening, Trinidad and Tobago. My name is George Jennings, and I'm speaking to you from Bottom Hall in Cambridge, England. I'm in the house where Sir Jennings lived, and my family has resided ever since. 250 years ago, Sir Jennings would have looked over the same green fields and travelled down to the halls of Westminster, where he argued passionately and successfully that a forest on a small Caribbean island should enjoy the full protections of the law. He'd never seen that forest, he'd never felt its air or heard its birds, but he believed with absolute conviction that what grew there was precious and that precious things must be protected. History has proved him right. The Main Ridge Forest Reserve stands today as the world's oldest legally protected forest. This is not the result of luck, it's because of people, those who made a visionary decision in 1776, and people like you who have honoured that decision every single day. I confess that until recently, I knew Sir Jennings through family documents and portraits. It is you, the people of Tobago, who have helped my family truly appreciate the scale of this living achievement. On behalf of the Jennings family, I want you to know how proud we are. We're proud that our ancestor played a part in something that has endured for 2.5 centuries. We are proud that the forest he helped protect is still standing, still breathing, and still sheltering life. Please protect it for another 250 years. The world is watching, and so am I. Congratulations, Tobago. Happy Main Ridge Day. I hope to see you in person soon.
Happy Main Ridge Day, Tobago. From that powerful connection to our past, we turn now to the leadership shaping our present and defining our future. The legacy we have just witnessed is not only preserved in history, it has been actively strengthened through vision, foresight, and decisive action. In recognizing the critical importance of our environment, a bold step was taken to establish a dedicated division to safeguard and advance these efforts at the highest level. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to invite a leader whose vision continues to advance this little island. Please stand as I welcome the Honorable Fale Chavez Augustine, Chief Secretary of the Tobago House of Assembly, to deliver the feature address.
Thank you very much. You may have a seat. Thank you, Master of Ceremonies. Allow me to acknowledge this evening the Secretary of the Environment, Climate Resilience and Energy, Assembly Member, Darren Henry and Mrs. Baker Henry, other members of the Tobago House of Assembly, Chief Administrator, Mrs. Denise Toby-Quashie, other administrators, Chairman, Mr. Bimal Ramlogan, and other members of the Main Ridge 250 Committee, corporate sponsors of Main Ridge 250, special invited guests, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Just 1 year before the British authorized the erection of a fort in Scarborough in 1777, another kind of fortress was already being secured. This fortress, robust yet beautiful, encompassing 2/3 of the island, was not the typical defense system that they knew. It actually took sustained lobbying from the then Member of Parliament Jennings for its immense value to be finally recognized. Jennings had the Herculean task of convincing his fellow MPs, some of them plantation owners themselves, that their crops were bound to fail without the strategic green fortress. And for anyone who has ever had the responsibility of convincing someone to change their position in the way I'm trying to convince the jet ski owners to change their position, you will know that task is not always easy. Sometimes you may have scientific support like Jennings did, and you will still struggle to get a breakthrough. Yet, Jennings persisted, and in so doing, the first recorded piece of eco-conservation legislation was shaped. And this is a first, not just for the Western Hemisphere, but for the wider world. And so, ladies and gentlemen, as we reflect on the 250th anniversary of the Mainridge Forest Reserve, we are reminded that Tobago may be small in size, but never, never, ever small in significance. The story of the Mainridge is solid, and it's enduring proof that Tobago is indeed a trendsetter, powerful enough to spark global impact. I find it incredible that Tobago, an island that has so much historical uniqueness, also has this layer to our backstory. We have the institution of the Tobago House of Assembly, which is in fact the oldest parliament in Trinidad and Tobago. In fact, Reginald Dumas once proposed that the original THA was the first bicameral legislature in this part of the world. And yes, we actually were bicameral at one point. And we are also the island where the first eco-conservation legislation was enacted to protect the Mainridge that still stands to this very day. I say this to say sometimes being special can feel ordinary. Sometimes you live with greatness so close to you that you forget how distinctive you really are. And sometimes we are so special for so long that we run the risk of trading our specialness and our specialities for mediocrity. In other words, if an eagle lime around with yard fowl long enough, he will start to cluck like a yard fowl and will forget his true calling. Imagine for a moment this Mainridge of ours was at one time voted as the world's leading ecotourism destination. And we received that award from the World Travel Awards in 2003, 2004, 2005, and after 4 consecutive wins, Tobago perhaps simply said, let's leave room for someone else to win the prize now. The Mainridge also boasts of capturing the Caribbean Nature Park of the Year in the Caribbean Journal's Green Caribbean Awards in 2019. 1 year later, in 2020, we got the integral UNESCO Man and the Biosphere designation. So, ladies and gentlemen, these accolades would be impossible without the work of the distinguished awardees seated in the auditorium here this evening. I'm speaking about environmentalists, foresters, researchers, bird watchers, tour guides, and everyone deeply devoted to protecting our critical ecosystems. I want us to pause and give a hearty round of applause for our environmental warriors who have fought extremely hard over the years to protect the Mainridge rainforest. Let us put our hands together for them. I want us to also take this moment to recognize the communities that live in and around the Mainridge rainforest. The THA hires workers to see about the Mainridge rainforest, but the people who live in and around the Mainridge rainforest, they are really the biggest champions of protecting the Main Ridge rainforest. And it's because they lived sustainably with the environment why today we can celebrate. So let's put our hands together for the residents of Lansomie and Bloody Bay and Palotuvier, Castara, Charlotteville, Speyside, and of course that sounds like my entire district. So put your hands together for Palotuvier, Lansomie, Speyside, because if we don't protect this rainforest, it will be no more. Now it's estimated that there are 36 forest reserves in Trinidad and Tobago. 35 of those exist in Trinidad, with Tobago having one, which is the Main Ridge Reserve. Perhaps I should pause facetiously to say this is the only good example of one being enough, or one being more than enough. For those of you in the politics, you will understand who I am throwing that shade for. And I want us to start thinking of this natural treasure somewhat as our collective only child. Like we do darling, like we honey sugar plum, like the one dege picnic that we have. And if you have ever met parents with an only child, and I am part of that club, you know we tend to be eternally protective about that one child. And we're always in that protection mode, overprotective mode. Some will say overprotection is not good. But when you have one seed, you do all in your human might to ensure no harm comes around. You cherish, you nurture, and you fiercely protect it. As an administration, we are right next to you on this important environmental journey. Earlier this year, in fact 3 months ago, we created the Division of Environment, Climate Resilience and Energy, a historic first in ensuring that conservation of our natural resources like the Main Ridge remains a top priority. Amongst its varying mandate, this division also promotes the adoption of sustainable land practices to prevent land degradation and biodiversity loss. Additionally, a month ago, we passed a motion in the House to officially commemorate April 30th as Main Ridge Day in Tobago. This move increases visibility and builds more public awareness of this critical ecosystem. And a week ago to this day, the Tobago Marine Parks Bill 2026 was successfully passed. This legislation gives the Assembly more teeth in the sustainable management and protection of our marine spaces. It was already dispatched to the Attorney General, the Prime Minister and the Cabinet, and will soon make its way to the National Parliament. So we are doing our best as your government to not just talk, but to act and to legislate. So ladies and gentlemen, this has been a historic week for us in Tobago in more ways than one. Would you believe just days ago, experts rediscovered the blue copper tree in the Main Ridge Forest Reserve just days ago. It is almost like the forest itself is celebrating its anniversary alongside us, adding its own touch to the auspicious occasion. And of course, one of the awards being presented this evening, as Secretary Henry pointed out, is aptly named after the blue copper tree. Some may call that rediscovery coincidence. Others, like myself, will label it as divine timing. But whether it is chance or providence, we are reminded how blessed we are to call this paradise our home. From the eco-fortress that is the Main Ridge, to the soldiers who toil tirelessly to preserve it, to the magical moments that defy words, these are the physical evidence that Tobago is indeed the greatest little island on the planet. And so this evening, I must thank and extend my heartfelt congratulations to you, our awardees, and I say so with much pride in my heart. Happy Mainridge Day, Tobago. Thank you very much, Division of Environment, for your work and for pulling this off, given the short time you had between ascending into office, Secretary Henry, and getting this done. Thank you, Tobago. Thank you to the communities. Thank you to the warriors who have protected this for the last 250 years. Thank you, and may God richly bless you.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Honorable Fale Chavez Augustine giving us a bit of history while honoring the awardees and the Mainridge, and of course, shouting out his constituents. Ladies and gentlemen, Chief Secretary Fale Chavez Augustine. So at this time, we bring a little rhythm to the evening, Tobago style. Our next performer is a true ambassador of song, a young man who has carried the spirit of this island across stages all over the world through the sweet music of a national instrument, the steel pan. A gifted and dynamic panist, Keyshawn Julian continues to make Tobago proud with every note he plays. And tonight, he graces us with a special solo performance. Sit back, feel the energy, and enjoy the brilliance of Keyshawn Julian.
Keyshawn Julian, and I just want to say congrats to all the awardees. And we're going to have a party just before I end. So feel free to sing along if you know it. Much.
And for Mr. Keyshawn Julian. It is now time to honor our distinguished award recipients, the custodians of this legacy. I'd like to invite the Assembly Member, Darren Henry, Mrs. Denise Toby-Quashie, our Chief Administrator, and Mr. Bimal Ramlogan, our Chairman of the Mainridge 250 Committee, to assist with the distribution of our first set of awards. Ladies and gentlemen, Mrs. Denise Toby-Quashie, our Chief Administrator, Assembly Member Darren Henry, or Secretary of the Division of Environment, Climate Resilience and Energy, and or Chairman of the Mainridge 250 Committee, Mr. Bimal Ramlogan. This evening, we begin with the Oscillated Gecko Award. Now, this award recognizes individuals who have demonstrated sustained commitment to environmental conservation and protection of the Mainridge Forest Reserve. Ladies and gentlemen, our first Oscillated Gecko Award recipient is none other than Mr. Darlington Chance. Darlington Chance is a TTTIC certified tour guide with over 25 years of experience in his profession. Renowned for his deep knowledge of Tobago's history and natural environment, he works closely with the Division of Tourism to deliver exceptional visitor experiences with routes along the edge of the rainforest. Darlington brings a unique generational understanding of the island's wildlife. He is also actively involved in climate change initiatives, forest monitoring, and community service. Darlington also serves as president of the Mainridge Tour Guide Association. Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for Mr. Darlington Chance. Our second Oscillated Gecko Award recipient is Ms. Davika Budram. Davika Budram is an educator, researcher, and pioneer in conservation science, holding advanced degrees in zoology and botany from the University of the West Indies. She is the co-founder of the Trinidad and Tobago Bird Observatory and Research Center. Her work spans sea turtle and bat conservation, where she became a certified bird bander in the United States. Davika Budram, ladies and gentlemen. Our next award recipient in the Oscillated Gecko category is none other than Junior Thomas. Junior Thomas is an experienced and passionate tour guide with over 21 years in the industry. Long before becoming officially certified, he was already leading tours driven by a genuine love for sharing knowledge and connecting with people. As the founder of Hummingbird Paradise and owner of Unique Tours Tobago, Junior has built a reputation for delivering authentic, high-quality experiences, specializing in island, rainforest, bird watching, and Little Tobago tours. His dedication continues to enrich Tobago's tourism product. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Junior Thomas. Receiving an Oscillated Gecko Award is Mr. Kamau Akili. Mr. Kamau Akili is a respected educator, environmental advocate, and national leader whose career spans decades of dedicated service to Tobago's development. A first-class honors graduate of the University of the West Indies, Mr. Akili has served as a teacher, vice principal, executive director of Environment Tobago, and chairman of the Eco-Industrial Development Company of Tobago. His work has influenced sustainable development policy, environmental conservation, and tourism planning at both national and international levels. Through leadership, education, and community service, he has made a lasting impact on Tobago's environmental and social landscape. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Kamau Akili. Our next recipient in this category is Mr. Lyndon Thompson. With a career spanning over 3 decades, Mr. Lyndon Thompson has been deeply committed to the stewardship of Tobago's natural environment. Beginning as a woodsman, he rose through dedication and experience to the role of plantation overseer, or how we call it in Tobago, foreman, within the forestry department. For more than a decade, he has played a key role in maintaining the scenic trails of the Mainridge Forest Reserve, shaping the landscape and leading his team with purpose. His intimate knowledge of the reserve reflects a lifelong commitment to protecting one of Tobago's most treasured natural assets. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Lyndon Thompson. Our next recipient in the oscillated gecko category is ERIC, Environmental Research Institute, Charlottesville, an organization. Tonight we honor ERIC's Executive Director, Mr. Alyosha Wadki. He is a distinguished environmental expert and director of the Environmental Research Institute of Charlottesville. With extensive experience across the Caribbean, his work has advanced sustainable development, conservation, and climate resilience. Mr. Wadki has played a key role in the protection of the Mainridge Forest Reserve, serving on the IFPAM Steering Committee, leading efforts to designate Northeast Tobago as a UNESCO Biosphere Reserve and contributing to its recognition as a National Heritage Site. Ladies and gentlemen, ERIC, Environmental Research Institute of Charlottesville. Mr. Mika Whitlock is collecting on his behalf. Tonight, we also honor in this category Ms. Patricia Turpin. Ms. Patricia J. Turpin's connection to the Mainridge Forest Reserve spans over 4 decades. From her early work as a researcher on Tobago's ferns with the UE Herbarium to serving as a naturalist guide, Honorary Game Warden and President of Environment Tobago, her contributions to conservation and environmental advocacy have been profound. Ms. Turpin also served on the steering committee of the internationally funded IFPAM project, which supported the sustainable management of our protected areas. Her lifelong commitment has helped preserve the beauty, biodiversity, and legacy of the main ridge. Ladies and gentlemen, Ms. Patricia Turpin. Once again, Tamika Whitlock will collect on her behalf. Our next recipient is Mr. Ralph O'Neill. Mr. Ralph O'Neill is a dedicated professional whose years of service and commitment have contributed meaningfully to the development and preservation of Tobago's natural environment. His work reflects a strong sense of duty, discipline, and passion for environmental stewardship. Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for Mr. Ralph O'Neill. And we move along to our next award recipient, Mr. Sean McCoon. Mr. Sean McCoon is a dynamic environmental advocate and public education leader working at the intersection of policy, activism, and communication. With a strong regional footprint across the Caribbean, his work advances climate action, sustainable development, and youth engagement in small island states. A respected writer, United Nations volunteer, and thought leader, Mr. McCoon has represented Trinidad and Tobago on international platforms and played a key role in mobilizing regional initiatives, including large-scale tree planting efforts across 22 countries. His vision for a more sustainable future continues to inspire change across sectors. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Sean McCoon. Our next award recipient in this category is Mr. Victor Ashby. Mr. Victor Ashby is a dedicated forestry professional who has served with passion and discipline since joining the forestry department in 2003. Beginning as a woodsman too, he played a vital role in maintaining the trails of the Main Ridge Forest Reserve, gaining deep knowledge of its ecosystem and sharing that knowledge with his colleagues and visitors alike. Known for his strong work ethic and leadership, Mr. Ashby has been a steady and motivating presence within the department. His journey reflects commitment, growth, and a belief in always striving for excellence. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Victor Ashby. Our final award recipient in the oscillated gecko category is George Thompson. Mr. Thompson is being recognized this evening for his meaningful contributions to environmental stewardship and his commitment to the preservation of Tobago's natural heritage. Through his work and dedication, he has played a vital role in supporting conservation efforts and promoting a deeper appreciation for our environment. Ladies and gentlemen, as he makes his way to the stage, let's hear it for Mr. George Thompson. That's a gentleman, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. George Thompson. The ocellated gecko is endemic to Tobago, which means it's only found here. And this is what we mean when we say our Mainridge Forest Reserve is home to species found nowhere else in the world. Ladies and gentlemen, the recipients of the Ocellated Gecko Award. Thank you, Secretary Henry, for assisting us with this first distribution. Our next category of awards is the Blue Copper Award. We now invite the Honorable Farley Chavez Augustine, Chief Secretary of the Tobago House of Assembly, to join us on stage to assist in distributing this category of awards. The first Blue Copper Award recipient is Mrs. Sharon Clark Phillips. Mrs. Sharon Clark Phillips is a dedicated forestry professional whose career reflects resilience and commitment to service. Born in Concordia and educated in Tobago, she pursued training at the Eastern Caribbean Institute of Agriculture and Forestry, laying the foundation for her work in the sector. She became a forester in 2004 and made history as one of the first female officers within the department in Tobago. That deserves a round of applause. She is a true team player and has demonstrated a deep love for fieldwork and environmental stewardship throughout her career. Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for Mrs. Sharon Clark Phillips. Our second recipient is Mr. Roy Corbin. He is a distinguished conservation practitioner whose life reflects the profound transformation from traditional hunter to leading environmental steward. His work represents a rare fusion of indigenous knowledge and applied conservation science, grounded in decades of field observation and ecological insight. As the founder of Corbin Local Wildlife, he has established a sanctuary dedicated to wildlife rehabilitation, biodiversity research, and environmental education. Through his service as a voluntary game warden and his training of forestry officers, Mr. Corbin has significantly advanced conservation practice in Tobago. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Roy Corbin. Our next recipient is Mr. Robert DeMattis. Mr. Robert DeMattis is a dedicated forestry professional who began his journey in 2007 as a natural resource officer within the wildlife unit. Since then, he has served across multiple areas of the forestry department, including the watershed management unit, gaining extensive hands-on experience and leadership as a supervisor at various stations. Committed and hardworking, Mr. DeMattis is known for his willingness to go above and beyond, serving even on weekends and holidays. He currently serves as an honorary environmental officer and contributes to national conservation efforts as a member of the Jeff BioReach Technical Subcommittee. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Robert DeMattis. Our next award recipient in the blue couple category is Mr. Newton George. Mr. Newton George is a dedicated professional whose years of service and commitment have contributed meaningfully to the development and preservation of Tobago's natural environment. His work reflects a strong sense of duty, discipline, and passion for environmental stewardship. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Newton George. Our next award recipient is Mrs. Natisha Charles Panton, or Assembly Member. Mrs. Natisha Charles Panton is a distinguished public servant and a national scholar with over 17 years of service in environmental management within the Tobago House of Assembly. Holding degrees from the University of Edinburgh and the University of Liverpool, she has advanced forestry, conservation, and sustainable development initiatives across Tobago. Now serving as Secretary of Public Infrastructure and Transportation and Assembly Member for Mason Hall South Bagatelle, her leadership continues to drive impactful, community-centered development. Ladies and gentlemen, Mrs. Natisha Charles Panton. Collecting on her behalf is Mrs. Charlene Frederick Turner. Ladies and gentlemen, receiving the Blue Copper Award this evening, Mrs. Natisha Charles Panton. Our next recipient in this category is Mrs. Camlin Melville Panton. Mrs. Camlin Melville Panton is a dedicated forestry professional who has served with distinction since 2007. As a Forester 1 within the Department of Natural Resources and the Environment, she has championed sustainable forest management, biodiversity conservation, and environmental stewardship. She has supervised operations at the Mainridge Forest Reserve since 2015 and in 2021 made history as the Tobago's first female assistant conservator of forests. Ladies and gentlemen, Mrs. Camlin Melville Pantin. Receiving the Blue Copper Award is Mr. John Edwards. Mr. John Edwards' distinguished career with the Tobago House of Assembly spans over 39 years. Rising from Game Warden 1 to Game Warden 2, he served as a dedicated wildlife officer committed to protecting Tobago's natural environment. Mr. Edwards played a vital role in safeguarding the Mainridge Forest Reserve, contributing to wildlife protection, conservation law enforcement, and the sustainable management of our forest resources. Ladies and gentlemen, receiving the Blue Copper Award this evening, Mr. John Edwards. Our next award recipient is none other than our Secretary, Assembly Member Darren Henry. Assembly Member Darren Hester Henry is a proud son of Tobago, whose career reflects over 27 years of dedicated service to the Tobago House of Assembly, rising through the ranks from Forester 1 to Acting Assistant Conservator of Forests. He now serves as Secretary of the Division of Environment, Climate Resilience and Energy. Highly qualified with international training and degrees in forestry and environmental management, Assemblymember Henry is a passionate advocate for conservation and education. He has led eco-tours, trained tour guides and forest workers, supported academic research, and played a key role in maintaining and protecting the Mainridge Forest Reserve. Through leadership, service, and hands-on commitment, he continues to shape the future of Tobago's environmental stewardship. Ladies and gentlemen, Assembly Member Darren Henry. Our next recipient in this category is Mr. Linford Beckles. Mr. Linford Beckles is a distinguished environmental professional and public servant whose leadership has significantly advanced the sustainable management of Tobago's natural resources. As the director responsible for the environment at the Tobago House of Assembly since 2009, he has played a pivotal role in shaping environmental policy and overseeing the protection of the Mainridge Forest Reserve. His work has driven key initiatives in renewable energy, conservation, and collaborative governance, while his leadership was instrumental in securing Northeast Tobago's designation as a UNESCO Biosphere Reserve. Through national and regional contributions, Mr. Beckles has strengthened environmental stewardship for present and future generations. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Linford Beckles. Our final recipient is Mr. Anderson Gregg. Mr. Anderson Gregg's career in forestry spans over 3 decades of dedicated service. Beginning at just 16 years old as a learner of the Blenheim Nursery, or at the Blenheim Nursery, he went on to serve as a woodsman too, and rose through the ranks to become a respected foreman, leading critical projects within Tobago's forestry department. Over 33 years, Mr. Gregg's commitment, leadership, and hands-on expertise have helped shape the development and sustainability of our natural environment. His journey reflects resilience, growth, and an unwavering dedication to service. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Anderson Gregg. Ladies and gentlemen, the blue copper tree was rediscovered on Monday. Yes, Monday, 27th April 2026, while we were at the opening ceremony of the commemorative week. It had not been found since the passage of Flora in 1963. For more information, you can visit TTT, where a recent story was done featuring Mr. William Trim, who spoke about its discovery. Ladies and gentlemen, we now move to the final tier of awards, the White-tailed Saber-wing Hummingbird Award. The white-tailed saber-wing is a large, vibrant hummingbird unique to Tobago and parts of Venezuela, known as a resilient jewel of the Tobago Mainridge Forest Reserve. Our first recipient of this award is Mr. Ray Sandy. Mr. Ray Sandy is a distinguished contributor to environmental stewardship and national development. Over the years, his work has reflected a deep commitment to the sustainable management of Tobago's natural resources and the preservation of its ecological heritage. Through leadership, service, and a steadfast dedication to excellence, Mr. Sandy, now retired, has made a lasting impact on conservation efforts and community advancement. It is with great respect that we recognize his outstanding contributions. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Ray Sandy. His son, Lester Sandy, is receiving the award on his behalf. Our second white-tailed saber-wing hummingbird award recipient is Mr. Selwyn Davis. Mr. Selwyn R. Davis is a dedicated forestry professional whose service to Tobago spans over 3 decades. A graduate of Washington State University in Natural Resources and Forestry, Mr. Davis served within the Forestry and Natural Resources Department of the THA from 1983 to 2009. His work has been instrumental in establishing and managing forestry nurseries, plantations, and recreational spaces across the island. He has represented Tobago in regional and international forums, contributed to conservation programs, and played a key role in environmental education, including the introduction of the iconic Campy mascot, which you should have seen today along the streets at the Mainridge Forest Reserve. Through his leadership in wildlife management, community forestry, and national reforestation initiatives, Mr. Davis has left a lasting impact on sustainable environmental development in Tobago. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Selwyn R. Davis. The final award recipient in our final category is none other than Mr. William Trim. Ladies and gentlemen, we honor Mr. William A. Trim, a distinguished forestry professional whose decades of service have helped shape Tobago's environmental legacy, rising from Assistant Conservator of Forests to Acting Conservator of Forests and Chief Game Warden of Trinidad and Tobago. Mr. Trim dedicated his career to the protection and sustainable management of our forests, wildlife and protected areas, including the Mainridge Forest Reserve. His work has strengthened biodiversity conservation, supported national development, and aligned with key international environmental commitments. Even in retirement, he continues to impact the sector through training, tourism development, and public awareness. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. William A. Trim. Let's hear it for all of our award recipients this evening. Thank you to the Honorable Chief Secretary, our Chief Administrator, and our Chairman for assisting us with the awards this evening. Ladies and gentlemen, we are at the point of the evening where I invite the man who has been steering the Mainridge 250 Committee, a steward of the forest, a man of action, a man of great humility and dedication to ensuring the respective teams had whatever they needed to execute this jam-packed week of activities. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Bimal Ramlogan, Chairman of the Mainridge 250 Committee, to say thank you.
A pleasant good evening. The Honorable Fali Chavez Augustine, Chief Secretary of the Tobago House of Assembly. Assembly Member, Mr. Darren Henry, Secretary for the Division of the Environment, Climate Resilience, and Energy. Other secretaries and assistant secretaries in attendance. Mrs. Denise Toby-Kwashi, Chief Administrator of the Tobago House of Assembly, and other administrators. And to you, our specially invited guests, to our awardees, to the media, good evening. I hear that good evening, I'll feed all you shortly. Good evening. As we bring this full week of activities to an end, I want to extend sincere thanks to everyone who made the Mainridge 250 possible. First, I want to thank the Honorable Chief Secretary for giving his full support to this event from the very beginning. Your leadership and vision made this a reality. Let's give it up for the Chief Sec. To the Secretary for the Division of the Environment, Climate Resilience and Energy, Mr. Darren Henry. As a former Assistant Conservator of Forests, he understood the importance of the Mainridge from the ground up. Now entrusted with greater responsibility, he has stepped into this role with confidence and clarity. His leadership and guidance were key in bringing this vision to life. And even with the growth, he continues to carry about the humility that we have always admired. A reminder that true leadership is not just about authority, it's also about service. I would like to thank the Division of Food Security, Secretary Wayne Clark and Administrator Julian Skeet for standing by us as a brand new division. You guys stood by us every step of the way, from procurement support, even down to the chairs we use throughout the week. Thank you very much to the Division of Food Security. I also would like to extend my sincere appreciation to the Division of Education for facilitating the students for our reenactment, as well as the Assembly Legislature for use of their venue, which was certainly one of the most entertaining events we have seen in a while. To our Chief Administrator, who was just on the stage matching with me, Mrs. Denise Toby-Kwashi, thank you very much for ensuring that within such a short time frame, you provided all the administrative support that we needed, and not just provided the support, your passion and your enthusiasm certainly went a long way with me, and you uplifted and cleared every path before us. So thank you very much, Chief Admin. To our staff at the Department of Natural Resources and Forestry, from the foresters to the wildlife officers, straight down to the drivers, you all gave unconditional time and support to this initiative and ensured that every aspect came together. Thank you very much to the department. Now moving over to our partners, the Tobago Reforestation and Watershed Rehabilitation Program. Your project management experience proved quite a valuable asset. There were moments where I felt out of depth, but you were always there to give that steady support. So thank you very much to the Reforestation Program. I would like to thank the Environmental Management Authority for being our partner on this project as well as an NGO called Building Youth in Technology and the Environment, who actually recommended that we do a week of celebrations. So thank you very much to the EMA, to BITE, and to our other partner, TTAL, the Tobago Tourism Agency Limited. As we saw in the video yesterday, we had an incredible day at the Main Road Center. TTAL was responsible for the replica of the 1776 ordinance, and TTAL, the extent you guys went to, we truly appreciated, not just for forestry, but in terms of the historic relevance of Tobago. You guys certainly provided that assistance. So thank you to these partners. There are some other partners I would like to recognize. The Tobago Festivals Commission Limited. I see Lisa working so hardly. Thank you very much to the Festivals Commission, as well as the Tobago Performance Arts Company, TPAC, for all the support in executing our events. I want to acknowledge the Trinidad and Tobago Bird Observatory and Research Center, TTBO, for the amazing experience yesterday at the Main Ridge. And I know your leader, Ms. Davika Budram, has been awarded, so I look forward to much more great things from TTBO. I also want to acknowledge TITL, the Tobago Institute of Technology Limited, for assisting us with our website. So thank you to all our partners. Now moving on to the sponsors. The first sponsor I want to acknowledge is B-Mobile. CEO Kino Cox is here with us, and B-Mobile have been our diamond partners for 5 events straight. They have been there. They have been so generous, and most of what we've given out was thanks to B-Mobile. In fact, 3 of the recipients this evening will be receiving high-end mobile devices courtesy B-Mobile. So thank you very much, B-Mobile. Mr. Kino Cox, Ms. Onika Blackman, the country manager of Tobago, as well as Mrs. Anjani Ramesasum, who has been so gracious and so selfless with all those tokens. Our platinum sponsor, TTT, every single day, every single event, you guys have been there with us, covering every event. Not just covering, but going live, ensuring that you give prime time to facilitate this project. So TTT, thank you very much. To our silver sponsors, the National Petroleum Marketing Company Limited, NP, for supporting a green initiative of this nature, which aligns with their focus on uplifting and protecting the environment. To our other silver sponsor, Caribbean Airlines, for their engagement with this initiative and for demonstrating their commitment towards the upliftment and development of Tobago. Our third silver sponsor, KFC, for continuing to support environmental and youth-driven initiatives. I want to acknowledge our bronze sponsor, O'Hara Corps, for providing technical critical support and to ensure smooth execution of events, as well as Black Hat Ventures Limited for designing that very beautiful Main Ridge logo, capturing the spirit and the history and the significance of the Main Ridge. I now move on to the committee members. The first person I want to acknowledge is the person responsible for Monday's opening ceremony, our Blue Copper Tree Award recipient, Mrs. Camlin Melville Panton. Moving on to day 2, I want to acknowledge another Blue Copper Award recipient, Mr. Robert Dematas, as well as the support given by Officer Govinda Ramlogan. And this event was truly, it was my favorite for sure. I mean, we had schools such as Goodwood, Speyside, Mason Hall, Harmons, Bishops, and Roxborough participate to bring together, and I know you guys saw it on the live for who didn't see it. Those students, they deserve a round of applause. Moving on to Wednesday's activity, I want to commend Officer Dwight Gomez, who led that initiative. And I will tell you all personally, I saw Officer Gomez leave home as a supervisor, 5 in the morning, went to the main ridge, pull a waka, and cut the grass to make sure the work was done. That is leadership from a supervisor from the front. Let's give it up for Mr. Dwight Gomez. On Wednesday, we had assisting with that operation, we had Fariel Ahmad Hussein, a member of the EMA who has supported us as well through TTBO. She championed that cause and she really has a passion towards bird banding. So Ms. Hussein, I commend you for that. And the final event, well, the last event before this one, I want to acknowledge Deputy Chairman Barry Lovelace, Coordinator Janelle Berkeley, and Ms. Avian Williams for the beautiful time capsule procession that we witnessed today. It was artistically designed and executed in a way which did complete justice to the main ridge. Barry had the vision, Janelle executed that vision, and Avian guided them along the path. So let's give it up to that team. And to the 2 main people responsible for today's event, the reforestation duo of Mr. Sean McCoon, our oscillated gecko awardee, and behind the scenes, the person that did the opening prayer. She didn't want to come on the stage. She's so humble. But Miss Kelly Manette Camejo. Earlier, I talked about reforestation's contribution. But you see, Sean and Kelly, this is what leadership looks like. Taking initiatives, never making excuses. Their passion and their drive and commitment could never be understated. The last person I want to acknowledge, Patricia, could you join me on stage, please? Let's give it up for our Master of Ceremonies this evening, Patricia Nicholson Richards. Now, I have known Patricia for all of 2 months when the division was now created. And let me say, Patricia, your presence has been a gift to the division.
But Bimal, I want to give a gift back to the audience. Matter of fact, 2 gifts. What we gonna do?
All right, guys, so if the person organizing this event says so, we had to follow through, right? So at this point, everybody raise your right hand. Let me just make sure we know which is the right hand. Right, so to the right of 2 seats, there's a small piece of blue paper stuck. Do not open the paper, just take it and come to the stage immediately, please. To the right of 2 seats, there's 2 small pieces of blue paper stuck. Patricia, I want to know where I put the paper. Yeah? All right, so let me help you all out, right? One is on that top corner, and one is in this front left row. I'll make it even easier. The one on this row is on the corridor. Right behind Fariel. Fariel, don't take the paper, please. Woo! And the next one is up there. Come forward, please.
Make your way down. We say don't open the paper, somebody opening the paper, you know.
That's Dwight?
That's Dwight.
Dwight, you can real cut grass on it, but you can't follow instructions. Don't open the paper, please. Please make your way to the stage. And to the front there, I'm seeing a young lady in a bright orange, escorted by a gentleman. The light is bright, so we can't see exactly who they are. Mr. Gomez, oh, you didn't open it. Could you please step forward and you read what your prize is?
You just won yourself a return ticket to St. Lucia versus courtesy Caribbean Airlines. Thank you very much.
Wait on the side, please, Dwight. And we have a young lady making her way up. Hi, pleasant good day. Could you introduce yourself and tell us what you want?
My name is, okay, my name is Mashubal Irons. I have won myself a ticket to St. Lucia, courtesy Caribbean Airlines.
So congratulations to these two winners. Is Director Amit in the house? Director Amit, could you just give us a stand, please? Right, so Director Amit made sure that those prizes were brought here today. So thank you very much to Caribbean Airlines for those two door prizes. So thank you. All right, guys, so in conclusion, I know you guys hungry, you guys want to dance and party. I can't find my last page in all this chaos. But let me just say that this event was successful due to the incredible support of the entire team. Everybody came together, pulled their weight, and ensured that they did their part towards excellence for today's program. 250 years ago, Mr. Swami Jennings started a project to establish the Main Ridge Forest Reserve for future generations. He didn't think about himself at the time. He thought about us in generations to come. And it's the same way we need to think about generations to come. That was the inspiration behind this week of activities. That's why it was so youth-focused. So with that said, I want to say thank you all for being here. And I hope you enjoy the rest of today's festivities. And to all the persons who contributed this week, as the steel pan person played earlier, you deserve a party. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for Chairman of the Main Ridge 250 Committee, Mr. Bimal Ramlogan, and congratulations to the winners of the return trip to St. Lucia, courtesy Caribbean Airlines. That brings, yes, give them a round of applause once again. And that brings us to the end of our award ceremony. I'd like to invite all award recipients to return to the stage for group photos, and everyone is invited to join us at the reception area. I am Patricia Nicholson Richards, wishing you a good night.